Okay, I'm just recording another video. Um, Again, I'm just sort of, I'm going to be justifying again why it's been taking so long to get this second beta out, again. But also, I just wanted to illustrate something important, for people who make their own maps even, about detailing and that sort of stuff in maps. So basically, and the reason it's been taking so long to get this latest beta version of the map out is because I've been distracting myself with a lot of detailing work on the map. And this stuff takes time, but it genuinely does make the map look a lot better, and just, it makes it that much cooler in my opinion. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around and explain some of the various little details that I've been putting in, because it might be very easy to overlook this sort of stuff if you either don't know how the mapping process works, or you know, and it's stuff you might not even think of, but it's stuff I have to go out of my way to place or create or design or whatever, So, first things first, I'm going to, and this is something so minor, most people might not even notice it. And quite frankly, I shouldn't be recording this with OBS because it's probably going to compress the living hell out of the video, and it'll make it even harder to notice. But for instance, on the walls up here, I have little bits sticking out like that. The trim actually pops up out of the wall instead of it just being a flat texture. This is something I pulled from CS Office. They do this in certain places in CS Office too. It just looks nicer, but it takes time to do. I actually have to go to the smallest grid size possible and then create all these little blocks to line the walls with. So, and then texture them, obviously. So, I do it here, and I do it in both of the office settings. Like down here, you'll see that little wood trim sticking out of the walls. It's just little things that make the map look that much nicer. But again, it takes time. So, I don't think I did it up here. No, I'm probably going to make the floor trim stick out a little bit here. It's on my to-do list. But down below, I do it down here too, since this has the same office scheme as the visitors area. So that's one thing. And then there's stuff like, recently I've been adding a lot of details to parts of the map that were just bland or very samey looking. Like up here on the roof, instead of this just being a big skybox wall, I added this little area behind the fence here that you can't normally access. And so, I put up some nice props here, set up some overlays and stuff to make it look nice. I even got smoke coming off the grill here, some decals on the wall, things like that. Also, I've been doing a lot of retexturing, and that's something that I think a lot of people just overlook. They just slap any old texture on anything. I probably spend a little too much time choosing textures. Like recently I just replaced all the trim textures with that because I didn't really like the trim texture. So I browsed through and I found one that I did like. It's actually the very top section of a wall texture, but I can also use that as a trim texture. So that's new, and I think I like that a lot better. I think I talked about this in a previous video. I also went through and made all the grass displacements, and then I added a little noise to them using the noise function to make them look more natural, more bumpy and everything. And then I went through and basically by hand colored the alpha, which basically controls whether it's grass or dirt. And so I went through and did that manually. There really was no way to automatically add noise to that. And I did things like, you notice around the corners there's more dirt and stuff around the corners, and I use the dirt to simulate like where people, where people will be walking over the grass and trampling it. It would probably turn to dirt. So like on the corners, because people will cut corners, it'll wear down to dirt. Or like here, I've got a path cutting across, because it would be very likely that people would just cut right across the pool, so it would be dirt. And to the grandstands, and you'll notice like the soccer field is more worn down than this area over here, because there's constantly people running back and forth on it. There's a path to the little button here. This took a good all of this displacement work here and out here, where I did similar stuff. It took hours to do all that. But again, I did it because I think it looks nice, and I think it's one thing my map needs to look good. Let's see, what else can we go over here? Oh yeah, my crates. Very proud of my crates. These are instances, which means I basically have VMFs of them outside of the map, and I just copy and paste the instances into the map. So it just tells the map, okay, put this VMF here, here, and here. So I use them all over the place. I use some right here. I use some down in the pit here. I think I have a few in here. I have a few in the main receiving area. Yeah, so I got them all over the place. And again, what most people would do is they'd either use a crate model, which I'm not too crazy about some of the wooden crate models that are in the game, or they would just make a 64 by 64 block and just texture it flat. I didn't do that. I actually have the little pieces of trim popping out the sides here, and I have it all clipped up too, so that it's nice and flat to physics objects interacting with it. Like if I throw my gun down onto it, whoops, I'll have to not pick it up first, but let's see. He really chucks that gun when you drop it in CSGO. But as you can see, it just lays flat, so it won't get stuck on anything, on those little pieces of trim and everything. And then I even went so far as to, and I don't know if I can show it here, not really, but as you can see, I have a few different instances, actually, so they're different. So there's, the ones that are just regular like this. There are ones with the support bar going across the side here, and there are ones that are meant to be on the ground and above. The ones that are meant to be on the ground are dirty on the bottom, and the ones that are meant to be on top of other crates are clean on the bottom. And on top of that, they have a texture underneath them, which you won't see under most circumstances. Like you can kind of see it there and that sort of thing, and whereas these do not, which is important for compiling. That's more of a behind-the-scenes thing. So, again, even as something as simple as crates, there's a lot of thought going into that. And then a lot of, I've been placing a lot of models and shit around the map. Like, I've added these dumpsters over here, the trash. I'm adding these decals of grates and stuff. That's something I originally did on the road. I've got them running every however many units there's a grate, because, that's the sort of thing you see on the road. And then, I'll have also other decals. Decals are a great way to add detail to maps. You can just slap them on real quick, and they're not terribly expensive, which means they're not hard to render. They're not very hard to get rid of. They're not hard to make. They're just great ways to add detail to a map. So like I'll add manholes. I've got like little patches in the road here. I'm actually, because there's two versions of this texture. There's one that's nice and clean like this, and one that's damaged. And I'm going to turn the damaged one into some decals so I can spatter that around and make it look like there are random damaged sidewalk tiles. My pistol's out of ammo because I'm just randomly shooting it, so let's just grab a new one. No, I don't want an MP7. I want the pistol. There's this weird glitch with these weapons here that like they're not actually where they appear to be. Like if I showed you how these were set up, actually I could show you how they're set up in the editor. And let's make that full screen. turn off player clipping, and turn off our instances. As you can see, I have them merged through each other in the editor because for some reason, when I compile them and put them into the game, it moves them. Or like, you know, you see these are positioned like so, whereas in the editor, they're like off to the right a bit, so, you know. Again, this also ties into detailing and stuff, is I actually had to trial and error, go back and forth from the editor to the game, moving these guns around until they showed up where I wanted them to in the game. So like, that's the way I wanted them to look, but this is the way I have to put them in the editor to make them look like that for some reason. You know, this is how the grenade wall looks in the editor, this is how it looks like in game. So again, another little detail that I had to spend a lot of time doing. Now this is the new door. It doesn't work yet because I fucked it up. What else? What else? Now I've been experimenting a lot with these windows. I've tried this design now with the metal bars over the window. I'm not crazy about it. But maybe I'll get some feedback on that. I'll hear what other people think, because it looks a little bit more fitting for a prison setting to have these barred up windows like this than to just have, you know, windows. Speaking of windows, another detail I've been adding, and like I've been adding windows to the outside of it to make it look like, you know, more like a regular building, but I don't like the way that looks, so I'm actually going to have to go back and change it, and hopefully it'll be good when I go back and change it. It'll be what I want it to look like, but again, that might be something I'll have to spend extra time on to try and get right. Yeah, I think I've gone on long enough with this, but I just wanted to illustrate the bigger and more detailed the map gets, the more I have to go back and fix and change little things, and that's very difficult when a map gets this big and this detailed, because it also takes much longer to compile. You know, compiling these HDR versions especially, I have to compile VRAD twice, which makes it literally twice as long, which, as you can imagine, is quite inconvenient for me. But, you know, I'm still working at it. Another reason I'm not making as much progress as I was before is because I have a job now and I'm working 35 hours a week, whereas when I started making this map, I had no job and I could just literally spend all day making this map. It's not, you know, it's not work to me. I enjoy doing it, but I don't have the time to do it anymore, or the energy if I'm tired from work. But yeah, that's I guess this is my big excuses video, but it's also, it'll also help anyone who's mapping or whatever to get some ideas maybe on how to add detail to their maps, because I know a lot of these ideas I pulled from other maps. Like I said, the wall trim thing I pulled from Office, you know, and other little bits and pieces, you know, like here, the parking lot. This is actually a displacement, and you notice it's, you know, dirty and cleaner in certain spots. Again, that's something I pulled from Office. So, you know, it's, I suppose it'll be helpful in that way. But yeah, again, I'm not actually ending the video when I should be, so I'm going to end the video now.